very warm welcome, everyone, and huge thank you for joining us at the Opera Rara season launch for 2024-25. For those who don't know me, I'm Henry Little. I'm Chief Executive of Opera Rara, and it's a real thrill for us to be able to share with you the very, very exciting and thrilling projects that we've got coming up over the next year. Once again, you're all very, very welcome, and we're going to start with a very short video.
Distige il frutto ancor fra poco io varcherò nel regno del dolore in breve scenderò e quanto di terror quello che aver mai può tutto a punirmi allor dischiudersi vedrò tutto a punirmi allor dischiudersi vedrò sì vedrò dischiudersi vedrò dal fremele cessa il mondo si svela mio lo sapremo io mai Distige il frutto ancor fra poco io varcherò nel regno del dolore io scenderò in breve scenderò e quanto di terrore quello che aver mai può tutto a punirmi allor dischiudersi vedrò tutto a punirmi allor sì vedrò si dischiudersi vedrò tutto a punirmi allor dischiudersi vedrò sì dischiudersi vedrò sì dischiudersi vedrò tutto a punirmi allor dischiudersi vedrò sì dischiudersi vedrò sì dischiudersi vedrò sì vedrò sì vedrò
The music which was backing that selection of all the many exciting projects we have planned next year is taken from our most recent recording, released just a few weeks ago, Donizetti's L'esule di Roma, and that was Morena's aria from Act 2, Di Stigie il flutto ancor, featuring baritone Nicola Alaimo, also starring in the title role of our Simon Boccanegra next year, alongside Britain Sinfonia, the Opera Rara chorus conducted by our artistic director, Carlo Rizzi. So I want to move on now and introduce some very special guests, some of whom are with me live and some of whom have sent some recorded messages, which are incredibly welcome. First of all, Katia Ledoux, who sang with us on our award-winning recording of La Princesse de Trebizond, which is selling extremely well and has been a welcome return to the Offenbach repertoire for which Opera Rara is so rightly well known, and also Michael Spyres, one of our artist ambassadors, a long-standing colleague and friend to Opera Rara, who has made many highly successful recordings with us, and who we are delighted will be collaborating with us next year as well. And there will be a special message from Michael's colleague, also an artist ambassador, Ermonela Jaho, to follow. But last, but by no means not at all least, the person without whom I should say, actually, none of Opera Rara's work would be possible, our artistic director, Carlo Rizzi. So you are all very welcome. And to guide us through some conversations with you, I also want to introduce you to a much valued member of the Opera Rara team. Again, one of the driving forces between our many successful discoveries over the last decade, our repertoire consultant, Roger Parker. So Roger, over to you. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, you wanted me to talk first about Simon Boccanegra, I think, and that project. A lot of people ask, well, Simon Boccanegra is well enough known. Why do you need to record it again? We're going to record the first version of the opera from 1857, and I think the thing to underline is how extremely different it is from the later 1881 version. Verdi, whenever I say Donizetti, I mean Verdi, by the way. It's my professional disability there. Verdi decided to revise the opera in the 1880s because he felt that it had fallen out of date in some way, and he wanted to update it to his latest musical language. But actually, the earlier version is much more in the language of Il Trovatore and the operas from the earlier 1850s. And we think that looking at this opera from the point of view of when it was first written gives you artistic insights into it, which are really valuable. And it's an extremely different. I mean, he made multiple changes later on, but the most relevant, I think, is the entire first act finale is completely different. He completely rewrote it in the 1880s, and it's an absolutely wonderful piece. It's one of the most compelling dramas. So one of the ways I think with Simon Boccanegra is we'll actually see a different kind of Verdi coming out, one who's much more closely tied to the middle period of his output. So this has been made possible, this edition, by the fact that there were a lot of Verdi documents in his ancestral villa in Sant'Agata, which got sequestered. The Carabinieri turned up one night or one early morning and took away all the autograph materials that were there, which had been virtually unknown before. And among them is the autograph score of the first version, which had never before been seen. And so the first version before that had just been reconstructed out of copies. And this autograph version is enormously detailed in the kind of performance instructions it requires. And so has given as an excuse to think again about Verdi precisely at this time. So we've got an incredible cast: Nicola Alaimo, Eleonora Buratto is Amelia, Ivan Ion Rivas is Gabriele Adorno, and Will Thomas is Fiesco. It's conducted by Mark Elder. And the performance is on the 18th of April at the Bridgewater Hall in Manchester. Tickets are available. So that's really something incredibly exciting to look forward to. There's going to be there'll be a discovery event online on the 7th of April, Sunday the 7th of April, and you can find out about that through our website. The recordings going to be released. It'll be the first studio recording of this original 1857 version in March 2025. And I think we're gonna talk about the Donizetti Song Project, Carlo and I, next. But I think that's going to be preceded by another clip, yeah, which is something from the latest Donizetti song recording, J'aime trop pour être heureux.
Peut-il vivre sans crainte? Oh, j'aime trop pour être heureux. Oh, j'aime trop, oh, j'aime trop pour être
Love that thumbs up there. So yeah, this project is it's really one of the most ambitious that Opera Rara have ever undertaken. It's the idea of recording the complete Donizetti solo songs, about 200 of them, 180 of them, over a 3-year period. This is year 3, 8 recital albums, 6 main stage performances in London, at Wigmore Hall and Cadogan Hall. But also, and I think very important, we're doing so-called salon concerts. We're doing 12 performances with mostly UK-based artists. And this is an idea of sort of disseminating this repertory out into the broader musical community. The final artists lineup, which is the first time I think that this has been announced, Ermonela Jaho is going to do 2 discs. Rosa Feola, the soprano, is the other soprano disc. Marie-Nicole Lemieux is the mezzo-soprano. Lawrence Brownlee, tenor. Michael Spyres, who's with us, is the other tenor. Nicola Alaimo, who you just heard there, is the baritone, and Alex Esposito is the bass. These, Carlo, congratulations on your elevation. Carlo has just been, is it elected, awarded, bestowed on, but all those things is, it's the Italian equivalent of a knighthood, which Carlo's just been granted. So you were I did the edition of the Donizetti songs, but you were the one who insisted that Opera Rara do this. So what was your thinking behind that, as well as making me very happy, of course?
Well, apart from making you very happy, of course, the fact is that, as you said, I think that this is a really important, momentous project for Opera Rara. Donizetti is a composer that is very dear to me for many particular reasons, and also Donizetti is one of the main reasons why Opera Rara started, and still exists. So when you, Roger, talked to me about what you were doing with all these songs, I thought that would have been the perfect opportunity for Opera Rara to put the mark of Opera Rara on this. And I'm so happy that we can just do something that is in a way definitive, that is to record all the songs for single voice and piano of Donizetti. There are also other songs, but we cannot just do everything. And of course, this until when somebody will not discover in some cellar of some monastery in somewhere another autograph of Donizetti that Roger not yet brought back to life. So let's hope that this will never happen. So we will have the first complete recording of all the solo songs. One thing, a question mark when I didn't know this songs of Donizetti, and I can tell you that there are a lot of them. I don't know exactly the number. Roger knows, but
100,
enough.
187, I think, at the latest.
Ecco, there we are. But surely enough to put music for 8 CDs. Now, I think, if I'm correct, that a ring cycle is on 12, 13 CDs, something like that. So it's not really far off in a way. The main question mark that I had about this, well, were two. One is, okay, we have so many songs of Donizetti, but how are they? How did Donizetti do? And I have to say that Donizetti did very well, because each one of these songs, and I think later when Michael will be talking to you, he will confirm this. Although they are some are very simple, some are more complex, but they have each one a specificity and authenticity from the point of view, particularly of the melody. And really, I have already recorded two CDs, and I have to say that each one is a new little small thing. So this was the first thing, and the second thing was, how are we going to categorize them? Because we thought, are we going to categorize them from the point of view of the language, from the point of view of the date, and of course, many dates are just, we don't have the precise date. And so we decided, after thinking long and hard, that the best thing was to categorize them by voice. And this is why also we started to really zoom in on this wonderful artist that we are so fortunate to have, because these songs don't require only a voice, but require also a style, a way of thinking, a way of pronouncing, and I'm so happy with each one of my friends that will be doing this recording, because I really think is something that is very, very high class, and everybody's involved and wanting really to do this kind of work.
I think one thing that people often ask about this, and we could ask Michael as well a bit later about this, that very often people say, "Oh, well, Donizetti, he's an opera composer. How do these compare with the operas?" And the unusual thing is that they're not particularly operatic, are they? I mean, there's a very different kind of musical world going
Yeah,
on.
absolutely. And this is not just obviously because they're with the piano, but the scale is much more intimate. And again, I'm not saying that is intimate as a diminutive adjective. It's just he composed this for different reason, for friends. For I mean, I like to think that going to a Christmas party, some people will bring in a bottle of wine on flowers, and he was just presenting an autograph to the to the host, saying, "Oh, this, you're a baritone, just sing this one. I just composed it for you." And I like to think that this is much more free and carefree also, because when they were composing an opera, not only Donizetti but every composer have to think about the reaction of the public, the cost, etc., etc. But these are just pure music, pure enjoyment, and this is why I actually find that they are very fresh. There are also some that I think are experiments. Um, when you have songs, of course, you need to have words. And words sometimes are taken by the usual Metastasio or other composer. But, actually, it's interesting that Donizetti takes quite a few of them from Dante, from the classical Italian literature of the Rinascimento, and I think he was trying really to give sound to these words and to this to this to this drama, particularly when it does I don't know, Conte Ugolino, that is so dramatic, and also others. So I think to a certain degree, some of them were also experiment for him.
Yeah, and what about so you had to lay down your baton and take up the piano keyboard. How is as compare the two experiences? What
Well, let me tell you one thing. Conducting is much easier.
baton? Yeah,
So since when I started to to practice again the piano, and so to do something that is not just moving air, um, I can see how the work of instrumentalists, singers, there is really difficult. We sometimes we choose some tempi and we just do this. And then it's up to the instrumentalist or the singers to keep with us. I actually, jokes aside, I actually really enjoyed it because for me personally, this is going back to my origin. I started as a pianist, but not I was never a sort of lists type of pianist. I was always very drawn to chamber music, and this is why actually I got drawn to opera because chamber music, singers, etc. And for me to have this and to be playing and supporting in a way, because obviously the voice have the most important part into this, is really a very nice way for me to make music with colleagues and friends.
yeah, that's great. So we I think we're going to talk to Michael in a moment, but before that, his colleague as artistic ambassador is Ermonela Jaho, and we've got a brief message from her.
Hello everyone from Teatro Real Madrid. I'm rehearsing for Poulenc's La Bohème. It is a challenging role as I have to be by myself on stage for the whole opera, but it is also a very interesting subject, especially in today's world, which lacks humanity. I have been part of the family of Opera Rara for over 8 years now. When you feel at home and you love what you are doing, that is how the quality of your work jumps to a different level. I take this opportunity to thank everyone in the team for their energy and passion. And being an ambassador for the last 2 years, I have been privileged to give my small contribution towards something we are all passionate about, that of discovering wonderful music that was unfairly forgotten, and to preserve these works of art for future generations. The upcoming project of Donizetti's songs intrigued me right away. This is thanks to the wonderful work that musicologist of Opera Rara, Roger Parker, who found these buried treasures. I always loved singing Donizetti's operas, but discovering his wide range of French and Italian songs opened a new window in his creativity for me. My surprise was the depth of some of the songs, which develop quite extensively, but also the ability to compact some very special feelings in some very short songs. But I will try not to ruin the surprises, so I will leave these things there. I invite you all at the concert with Maestro Carlo Rizzi and Marco Rizzi at Wigmore Hall on May 23rd at 1 p.m. to enjoy a selection of the best French and Italian songs from Donizetti. I think you will hear some wonderful surprises as well and enjoy the wonderful melodies and harmonies of this giant of bel canto.
Okay, it's wonderful to hear that from Ermonela. Michael, yeah, congratulations. You're Singer of the Year, according to Opera. magazine. Which,
Yes, thank you. And Ermonela is female singer of the year.
yeah,
Not too shabby for the two artist ambassadors.
no, that's good.
And also yourself, your wonderful recording. I think we were the winningest label on the Opera Awards. So
Yeah, Deutsche Grammophon, bury your head. Yeah. So now with these, I mean, you've done many Donizetti operas now. Do you think, I mean, the songs are going to reveal something different? This is the kind of theme that we're coming to. The songs actually tell you something different about Donizetti in the end? I mean, what do you think about that?
absolutely, yes. This is why it's so important to record this the entire oeuvre of Donizetti, because as you all have done more than any other group of people to shine light on what a genius Donizetti was, because if you take him from the very beginnings of his pieces to the absolute ends, it's just it's a journey that barely any other composer ever took. I can't remember, Rogers, is it 83 operas that he composed?
Well, it depends how you count them, but
Okay.
it's there or thereabouts. Yeah.
Right, right around there. But most people are only aware of, three or four, and then when you tell them no, it's actually right around 80, and then you start seeing the difference between the beginnings to the end. You see this incredibly complex and amazing man, and you see the maturity in such a fast span of lifetime. And with the leader and all of these songs, they really do show a completely different side of Donizetti, because the intimacy and the simplicity of it, because he was a very complex and extremely genius person, but you get to see his beauty for, I mean, everyone knows the gorgeous melodies of his operas, but as Carlo was pointing out, the simplicity and the beauty of these songs really are missing from the entire genre of the leader repertoire, because most people have never heard of them and they don't realize how varied they are. And again, with the thing that I'm very happy about is doing many of these, nearly all the songs that I'm doing are in French. And Donizetti was originally known as Italian, but his later French works were absolutely incredible, and that's how I started with Opera Rara, with his first French attempt with the Les Martyrs. And I find his French repertoire to be absolutely incredible, and the way that he can actually spin a melody with language that is not his is absolutely incredible, and especially with his leader, it's gorgeous. And the great thing about his leader also, and as you were saying, the text, the different people that they were taken from. Interesting. There's a piece from with words from Victor Hugo and also Rousseau, and also one of my favorite pieces now, going through it now, is the piece after E.T.A. Hoffmann, which many people will kind of remember in the Tales of Hoffmann. There's a wonderful moment where Niklaus sings about the violin and tells how beautiful the violin and the music and love is. And Donizetti wrote his own version of that from E.T.A. Hoffmann, his words. And the other thing that I'm so thrilled about is two of the pieces were dedicated to Adolphe Nourri, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that anyone will have ever heard much of this music, and especially these pieces that were written. And one of the dedications says, "To my dear friend Adolphe Nourri." And for those of you that don't know Adolphe Nourri, he was one of the pinnacles of the three great tenors in the entire era of Donizetti's lifetime. And he was the one famously that jumped off a balcony when he couldn't master the high C. But I think he had a few more problems, like cirrhosis of the liver. That was that was driving that, rather than not being able to hit the high Cs. But I just find it fantastic for the public to understand how complex and beautiful Donizetti's his ability to really spin a beautiful story within this very sometimes very simple, but then you have many depth that a lot of leader that goes into that you don't get to have. And as Carlo was saying, in one song, it feels like a bit like some of Verdi's Lieder. They're not operatic, but they tell an entire story within a few minutes, and that's what I love about these. That he really was a leader composer as well.
Yeah, I just wonder sometimes. I know you've been singing a lot of Berlioz recently, and one of the things about these Donizetti French songs is you begin to think what composer he might have become a bit later
Oh,
as well.
absolutely,
A lot of
absolutely.
chromaticism and those things. So it gives you this sort of, because he died, at least 20 years too young in all
Oh,
sorts of
yes.
ways. So it could have been a tremendous. It is a bit of a lance into the future, those French songs in some ways. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think that's why it's so important, this entire project, because it fills in the missing puzzle pieces. And once you have all of the wonderful recordings that Operara has already made for the years with the leader songs, there's going to be PhD books and many things written about just the work that Operara has done with and for musicologists, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks, Michael. So anyway, these three main stage performances for 24-25, May 23 at 1 p.m. Ermonela and Carlo, being joined with Carlo's brother Marco Rizzi on the violin at the Wigmore Hall. It's almost sold out, so if you want to go to it, get your tickets soon. 2nd of November, Rosa Feola and Carlo in a program at the Wigmore Hall. And then 10th of March 2025, Marie-Nicole Lemieux and Michael, and with Carlo at the Cadogan Hall, with songs by Donizetti and Berlioz. So they weren't the greatest of friends, it has to be said, Donizetti and Berlioz. But
No, no. Well, geniuses often have a bit of a rift, you know.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, and we plan Marie-Nicole Lemieux and Michael's recordings will be released in February 2025. So I'm going to move on to talk to Katia now. And congratulations on the Opera Award again for the debut recording of La Princesse. Yeah, we had this idea of a salon concert series. I said of sort of introducing of these songs into a much broader community. But also the other thing that we're going to be exploring along with Donizetti songs in this next season of salon concerts is songs by women composers, and we've had some good conversations about that already. And you introduced me to Clémence de Grandval. Tell me about that. How did you get to know about her music?
I've heard the first time about her at the university concert about women composers, and I had been wanting to sing some of her music for such a long time. And I remember when Opera Rara asked me to make a program with composers around the time of Donizetti, I was thinking, oh, I would love to sing her music, but the scores for her music are unfindable. It's really impossible for a normal person to find the scores. So I think I mentioned in a second sentence, telling you there's this composer and I would love to sing her music. Here is a recording that I've heard of her, but because there's no scores that I can find, I will probably not be able to sing her. And then Roger, you answered, I think an hour later, like, oh, I found the scores. So there they are. And you were a magician finding scores that I had been looking for years to try to find. And yes, now I'm going to be able to sing some music by Madame de Grandval, which I'm very looking forward to.
Yeah, it'll be just for you. I ordered them from the Bibliothèque Nationale, and we'll see when they deliver them. But as soon as they deliver them, you'll have them. So, how do you find doing song recitals versus operatic? I mean, where does your greatest interest lie? Is this, and what do you feel about the differences between them?
I love both. I love both, but they are very different. I mean, it's maybe one of my ideas of opera might be a little bit, I don't know, counter-revolutionary or revolutionary. But when I sing opera, I see myself as an instrument. I am part of a team and we're building something, but I am the people who I'm interpreting are the composer, the librettist, the conductor, the stage director. Those four people have a story to tell, and I have to find a way to get those four ideas and bring it to the audience. My own idea about the piece is not that important. Maybe in the rehearsal process, I can find ways to talk to the conductor and the stage director. Usually the composer's dead, so mostly it's those two people, but it's not my interpretation. While for a concert like this, where a recital where I get to be the interpreter, I get to tell the story, and instead of 2 hours I have 3 minutes to tell a full story to an audience. It's a completely different job, and I love both of those.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Michael? Is that the same for you? Do you think that
Absolutely, yes. There's much more intimacy when it comes to, and the fact that you have a pianist and a voice, it allows you to really become more of an artist, because when you have all of those working parts, if you decide that no, I'm going to take over, you've got 150 people that are all going. Are you sure? We're not sure how fast or slow you're going, and as Carlo knows, sometimes singers do very unexpected things. So it can be train wrecks. But this is why I love doing leader recitals and doing things with just one person, because you really do get the feeling of being an artist again, rather than, and I feel the same way with Katia. Our job is more or less to be the puppet rather than the puppet master. Whereas in recitals, it's much more a give and take, and the audience, you can really base what you want to do based off of what the audience is giving you, and you can wax and wane and change tempo much easier.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the extraordinary things, particularly about these salon concerts, is that, you know, the proximity of the audience is an incredibly energizing thing, you know, for the singers and for the audience as well. So the first salon concert, yeah, will feature Katia, and Anna Tilbrook is the pianist, and that's on the 10th of June. The Temple Music Foundation. So opera tickets will go on sale to the general public pretty soon at the end of March, and seating's very limited. So, you know, do go along. The other singers we've got in the Salon Concert Series: Jessica Robinson, represented Wales in the Cardiff Singer of the World competition; Louise Calvet-Ipay, who sang on Les Olets di Roma. Jessica and Louise are both graduates of the Royal Welsh College. And then lastly, Ellie Neat, soprano, graduate of the Guildhall School. So those salon concerts, first one featuring Katia, are really part of our season. I'll hand back to Henry, I think, for this stage.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you. And thank you so much to all of you, Roger, Carlo, Katia, and Michael, for your input. It's been absolutely fascinating to hear your individual perspectives, particularly on the idea of the song versus opera performance, which is absolutely fascinating. You've all spoken so eloquently. I would just add that the goal behind our Donizetti song project overall is to try and reposition this music, which doesn't have anything like the same status as French song or German lieder, and we think it's right up there alongside that repertoire, and that's our overall goal that we're trying to achieve. So thank you so much for being part of it. We're nearly finished. We're at that kind of what I call a kind of slight Steve Jobs moment. This is the point when I just turn to walk off, and then I turn around and say, and one more thing. And the one more thing is this: I want to tell you about two new aspects of our work, our Discovery series and Ask Opera Rara. So In addition to our performances and recording releases, we're adding a new feature for our supporters and donors and sponsors, and we're calling that Opera Rara's Discovery Program. This will be open to our friends, patrons, and our generous circle and guardian donors. And it's an expanded series of events specifically curated, giving first-hand behind-the-scenes experiences, connecting you with all aspects of Opera Rara's work and our overall journey of what I like to call live operatic archaeology. So we look forward to seeing many of you for those online and in-person events throughout next season. And please do keep in touch on our website at www.opera-rara.com, because we will load information about those events as they become due throughout the year. But the second thing I want to tell you about is a brand new initiative, which is on 1st of May, we're going to launch a new feature on our website, which is called Ask Opera Rara. Now, this is a brand new initiative where members of the public can send in operatic questions to our team of musicological experts headed by Roger, but also Carlo, my many colleagues, the artists we work with, etc. And you'll receive your answer in a myriad of ways, possibly in the form of a video, a social media post, or even a blog. So we really encourage you to share your ideas and questions with us, not only on our website, but also on our many social media platforms. And please use the hashtag #AskOperaRara, as this will be a really great way to hear from you. So I want to encourage all of you who are with us to join us in whatever way you can for our 24-25 season, whether that is as the buyer of our recordings in physical format, in CD format, or streaming, whether that is online through events like these, whether that's in person through our cycle of Donizetti song concerts, or through our cycle of salon concerts, or our main stage concerts. We are hugely looking forward to seeing you. Just before we close the recording bit, I do want to say one thing. I hope you've got the impression that this is a really rich and varied menu of operatic archaeology, I'll use that phrase again, that we're planning over the next year. What I would say to you is that it's not cheap. An undertaking like this carries very, very considerable cost. And I do want to thank everybody who supports us in whatever level, because without your support, it simply would not be possible to do what we do. We rely on you, and we are tremendously grateful for your collaboration. And thank you for being such valued members of the Opera Rara family.
Si vedrò, si discuter, si vedrò, si